down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Brezzy.
and today we have yet another fan request episode. This time, our fans keep requesting the most twisted stuff, and we love it. Keep it coming. But this week we are going to be talking about Human Centipede 1 and 2. Our longtime fan Katie requested this, and she basically wanted to know, is it messed up as everyone says? And the short answer is yes, but we'll get into it. But first, Breezy, what's going on out in Seattle right now? Or
So
soon?
CryptoCon is going to be there, or that's the event, and
Mhm.
that is happening May 3rd through the 5th. And then it's at Doubletree by Hilton Hotel by
Okay.
the Seattle airport. That's what I'm gathering.
Uh-huh.
So that's happening.
Fun.
And then we got a movie coming out May
Tarot.
3rd, Tarot.
Yep.
I thought it was tarot, but no,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, like tarot cards. Like the,
Yeah,
the
I
Hanged
really want
Man
to
and
see that one.
it looks really good actually.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
Hmm.
And then I also, it's not really news, but I have seen Winnie the Pooh too.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, I actually really, really love it.
Really.
Very good.
There's some new characters in it, isn't there?
Yes, Owl and Tigger.
Oh my gosh. What's is Tigger? Does he bounce? Is he hyper?
No, he doesn't bounce. He more so runs, but he's like just clawing the shit out
Ooh,
of like this guy or girl. It's been a while, but
yeah.
he's like doing like this, and I'm like, dude, he's like aggressive.
Yes. Well, he always was. Even the old school cartoon Tigger was kind of aggressive, so that
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
And what's Owl like?
I was kind of like low key
Uh-huh.
to me,
Right.
but like how he kills, he like kind of like like pukes and like his puke like is like it
Like
kills.
owl pellets.
Yeah, it's like it. I
Acid
want to say like
melts.
acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's better than the first one.
Okay. Well,
I will
cool.
give you that.
So Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. That's like a little tongue twister. Is
Yeah.
is has come and gone, I think, but you can if you know where to look for it, you can find it. So
Oh yeah, it's a definitely a good one.
cool. Uh, well, speaking of things that are disgusting, today we are talking about the Human Centipede 1 and 2, or Human Centipede First Sequence and Human Centipede Full Sequence, I believe, are the official names of the movie.
Yep.
And I had not seen either of these before. They're kind of legendary. They're kind of like Terrifier in that if you've been anywhere near horror, you've probably heard the name mentioned around. So I got to watch these for the first time. But Breezy, you've seen these before, right?
I have seen him quite a bit.
And I will so we'll do spoilers. We'll try not to ruin everything, but we probably will. So just be ready for that. But the Human Centipede, just to get it out of the way up front, if you don't know, involves the first one is a surgeon who's a little psychotic who decides to connect three people mouth to anus. And so, and surgically, and to make a human centipede. Oh, and he cuts their ligaments in their knees so they can't stand. They have to be on all
Yep.
fours. So that's what the movie's about.
And the first one is like 100% medically accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So and so uh watching this movie, it starts off right away. You see doctor, and man, this guy, his performance really sells
like
the whole movie.
Doctor, I call him Dr. H.
Yeah, Dr. Heiter played
Yeah.
by Dieter Laser, or maybe Lazer. I'm probably not, but oh my gosh, you take one look at him and it's like, yep, that guy looks like he wants to make a human centipede. He just looks like he's half psycho, half drugged up, just really intense energy.
Yeah, he looks really, really weird
Yeah, that's the
and
best way to describe
creepy.
it. And he's looking at a picture of two dogs, and it kind of looks like someone photoshopped the first dog and smashed its face into the rear end of the second dog.
Like there's like 3 Rottweilers.
Yeah. And then he has, yeah, then there's 3 of them, and he's very emotional about this. And then a trucker goes into the woods to take a dump, and he takes a gun and goes after him. Then you cut to, that's the beginning. Um, then you cut to 2 women. They're in Germany and they're tourists, and they got invited to a party, so they're gonna go check out this party. And they get lost, and they get a flat tire, and the friendliest guy ever comes along to help them out, isn't it, Breezy?
Yep. They're like, well, they like get stuck on the road or their car broke down.
Mm-hmm.
And then they walk in the woods and then finally they see this house. And then they walk and they knock on his door.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like kind of quiet, very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But he let them in and he actually locked the door behind them.
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
he seems like he's almost like like he's helping them, but he's like mad that they're there, and he just has this really intense, almost like Christopher Walken. If you've seen Oppenheimer, the guy that plays
yep,
Oppenheimer, kind of mixed with like a Christopher Walken, William Dafoe offness of the intensity, but kind of
yeah.
similar to that. But he offers them something to drink, and
He puts like some type of like drug in there to make him sleep.
yeah,
Kind
roofies
of like a date
basically.
rape drug.
Yeah, and so they pass out, and then he he has to go get the first truck driver. You see the truck driver, and he's like, "Sorry, you're not a match." And he ejects him with a syringe full of stuff and watches intensely as he dies. And everything about this guy just kind of makes you uncomfortable. Like, I think like knowing what's coming up, like you have it in the back of your head that this is eventually people are going to get human centipeded. So just the whole thing is you just kind of are tense and uneasy watching it. Anyway, that guy dies. He gets a replacement. You're gonna say something?
This like Chinese guy.
Yeah.
And he was like freaking out. Like he was to me, he is kind of funny. Just
Yeah.
like just like like you don't know what like he was saying because you don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Right.
I wish, but
Yeah, there is subtitles. But,
oh, I
well,
didn't have that.
I don't know if there is for that part though. But yeah, guy freaking out. And anyway, he finds out that they're a match, and then I think that's when he explains what he's gonna do to them. And he has like an
I
over.
just don't understand the whole matching part.
Yeah, I think what it is like when you watch like doctor, like if you like when they have to transplant an organ, like they have to have a matching blood type or something. So maybe it's like that where it's like a matching organ, the guy has to have the same blood type or something, or he thought the body was gonna reject it or something. uh so in
That's still like the whole human centipede. It just doesn't make sense with the blood type.
right, exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
But
I
it's
mean,
apparently 100% medically accurate. Who
right.
knows? Maybe that part they just threw in. But he
Yeah, that just confuses the fuck out of me.
well, and was it even necessary to the plot? I guess just to show that he was willing to murder someone just in absolute cold blood without a second thought or remorse, I guess. But anyway, he gets a replacement, and then he gives his little overhead projector presentation with like little almost like stick figure but like bubble people drawings, and he talks
Yeah.
about how basically he has person A, person B, and person C, and he's going to remove the front teeth from person B and C, and then he sort of cuts open the rear end of the person in the front and makes it sort of like a face mask and puts it
Yeah.
over the
And
face.
then he goes injections from A and into B and then it exit out of C. I'm
Yeah.
like, Whoa, okay. He's really in detail.
And then that was the exact part of the movie where I actually literally got woozy. Like I was starting to like,
See
like,
when when you watch it, like the first time you will get woozy and you'll be
mhm,
like, what the fuck? This is sick and this is disgusting. Why am I watching this? But if you
mhm.
watch it like over and over again, it's just it doesn't phase you really much
Right.
anymore.
Honestly, his description of what he was gonna do was worse to me than when they actually show him doing it. Like that was gross, but for some reason, him talking about it with his little A into B through C, like I
See?
just was like,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving. At
That
least I didn't throw up. Like Evil Dead Rise made me almost throw up. I didn't feel like I was gonna throw up. I just felt like I was gonna pass out. Completely different feeling.
oh man, you're confusing sometimes.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm getting better. But one of the women almost escapes. And then he basically tranquilizes her, brings her back in. That sort of is relevant to the plot later. Um, and then he does the operation, and oh my gosh, it's graphic. And then that's like, okay, well, he did that. Now what else are they going to do? The movie's got to be over, right? No, there's a good 45 minutes yet of him training the human centipede how to walk and how to
Yeah, they
fetch his
like wait.
paper.
Yeah, they like wake up and then they're like now they're like all connected
Yeah.
and they're like trying to like walk at first, but no, actually they were like in I want to say shock, but like, oh my God, he's actually done this to us.
Hmm.
And they're like he was trying to move or they were trying to move. And then automatically he feeds him like a fucking dog, pretty
Yeah,
much.
puts it in a dog bowl, and I don't know if it was
Yeah.
dog. Well, they show him at earlier eating like some kind of fruit out of a can, like Del Monte fruit. So it could have been that, but it could have been dog food. They don't really show it that close, but he just plops
Yeah.
it into a dog bowl.
And he's just eating there and he's like looking back, I'm like,
Yeah, like too bad. I
yep,
gotta
too
eat.
bad. Yeah. Yeah. The
uh, and then the first time there's subtitle, he's speaking Chinese or Japanese or whatever Asian language, but he says, "Oh shit, I got a shit," and then he's like, I'm
well, they're
sorry."
also wearing this like huge dog cage, dog kennel
Oh
too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, they were outside and they were like doing something or training or something, and he was like smacking them, like
I
smacking their
think
ass.
with the riding crop, he was smacking their ass trying to get them to walk around. Oh, and he did show. He had a big mirror, so he showed them so they could see what they looked like too.
Yep.
And then he sort of kissed himself in the mirror, like he was really into himself, like he was really proud of himself for making the human centipede.
Like it's like a big huge turn on for him. That's
Right,
pretty much it.
exactly. That's the nail on the head right there. Um, Eventually, two cops come and say there was reports of an American woman screaming, which I assume is why they had that little escape scene where that's where the people heard the woman screaming. So he roofies the one cop. The other cop is a little more quick on the uptake and doesn't, or just for whatever reason, doesn't drink the water. And he convinces them they need a warrant. So they said, "We'll be back in 20 minutes." Oh, and the woman at the rear, the final piece of the centipede is infected and is churning all different colors of green and gray and blue. And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna die. I'm gonna have to replace you."
Yeah.
So while
That
he
looks really gross.
is really gross, and he even like squeezes pus out of the stitches. It's like this
Like
goopy
he
like
like takes it
yellow.
in. Like he takes it in, he like kind of like puts his finger in it and then
Yep.
oozes it out. And then he
Yeah.
smells it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And then he makes a face like it's gross. It's like, well, what did you think? Like,
well, right. When I'm like, okay, well, if you want to keep your human centipede, at least fucking treat it.
exactly. You got to care for a human centipede. You
Yeah.
can't, human centipede is
Yeah.
a big responsibility. You can't just go around, leave it in a cage all day. What the hell, people?
Right.
Anyway, so he's like, oh, so then he comes back down the stairs, says, "Oh, guess what? I'm going to replace you with two new people." But while he was gone, the lead man grabbed a knife or a scalpel or something, jammed it into his leg, They have a little bit of a scuffle. There's an excruciating scene of the human centipede trying to crawl up the stairs, and they think the doctor's
That's
dead.
gotta be so hard to do. Like
Yeah,
crawling up that stairs.
and good, and honestly, props to the actors and for doing. They sell it. They make it convincing. Um, and then they have a little. He's the doctor's wounded, so he's crawling on his hands and knees, and he has a scalpel. The guy in the front takes some broken glass because he was trying to bust a window to escape. And
Well, before all this stuff happened, that oh my gosh, I gotta take a shit. I gotta take a shit.
oh yeah,
And then he goes and he's like, yeah, yeah, eat it, bitch. Like, eat it. I'm like, that's nasty. That is so nasty.
And there's like even a little bit of sound effects to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That was another part where I was like, okay. After they did the surgery, I was like, what else? I'm the worst of it's got to be over. And then they got to that part, and I was like, oh, this is pretty rough. Yet they found things to do.
Yeah, I don't like the one and two. Like I always like, okay, obviously they have, food.
Hmm.
He whoever's the first person can eat regular food.
Hmm.
But the other people behind, they eat shit.
Exactly.
It's like it was like, oh, eat shit. Okay, watch Human Centipede.
Yeah.
But no, my thing is like, okay, they have food, but how in the hell can they drink?
That's a good question. That
It's like
they don't
you
address that in the 100% medically accurate human
no, it's like
centipede.
you gotta drink diarrhea or something.
I
I
guess.
mean, that's gross. I mean,
It is. Yes, that is a fair point.
well,
That's a good. We better move on. That's
yeah.
that's a good question. I don't want to think about it. We're gonna move on. Um,
Well, that's I always think about that. I'm like, how in the hell did they drink? Like, oh, liquid diarrhea. That's gotta be it.
well, because they're connected mouth to anus, he specifically says. So that would mean the other parts where, if we're going to think about this logically, where urine comes out, they're not drinking pee because that's not connected in theory.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. It would be diarrhea.
Well, yeah.
Thank you for listening to Talk Bloody to me.
Talk nasty to me, I guess.
Yeah. All right, we better move on. Um, Eventually, the guy in the front decides that this was all punishment for he was bad to his family. He deserves this. He's not going to even fight back. So then he ends up killing himself with the broken glass. So now Human Centipede middle has a dead man attached to her face, and Human Centipede rear is actively dying of gangrene or whatever the hell's going on back there. And then the
And
cops
she's
come.
like really, really pale and gray too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The cops come back, and at the worst possible time, the roofie kicks in, and the cop kind of fumbles, gets shot, falls in the pool. The other cop runs in, gets shot by the doctor, but shoots the doctor right square in the head. And even the doctor, he even dies fucking weird. He's just like staring straight ahead, like, and then just like sits there. Like everything this man does is weird. Even his death is weird.
Well, honestly, he probably survived somehow because even though he got shot in the head, he's still in part 3.
Oh, is he? Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know that. Spoiler alert. Okay.
yeah, because Lawrence and him are together on part 3,
Oh, okay.
but it's at a jail cell, so I don't really like it.
Uh-huh. Good to know. Good to
So
know.
yes,
So everyone's dead except for Human Centipede middle and end. They hold hands. Human Centipede end finally dies. Human
well,
Centipede
the girl dies,
yeah, the girl dies. The girl at the end, and so the one in the middle is left attached to a dead person in the front and a dead person attached to her back, and she's crying, and that's how the movie ends. It's a feel-good fun fest for the whole family. Human
yeah. It's like,
Centipede.
okay, now you got the first person, on your face died, and you got the one person on the back died. How in the hell do you get out?
Exactly.
just push yourself off.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Now, in theory, the cops would notice that, hey, Ray and Frank never came back from that house they were checking out. Maybe we should send some more cops over there. So in theory, I think the cops would eventually get over there, but it's how long does she have to sit there before anyone finds her? And then and then what happens when they
right,
do find her?
right.
Will these questions be answered in Human Centipede 2? No, none of them are, because guess what? Human Centipede 2 starts off with our friend Milton, who is played by Breezy's good friend, best friend in the world, Lawrence. I'm exaggerating a little, but Breezy has
Yeah.
met him. And Milton is a parking ramp attendant, and he's watching Human Centipede 1 on TV. And in Human Centipede 2, the premise is that this is the quote unquote real world, and that where Human Centipede 1 is a movie. And Milton is a guy who watches this movie and is inspired to do great things with his life. He's going to make an even bigger and better and crazier Human Centipede. And he has his scrapbook, and yeah.
And he also gets like hard too because he's looking at the scrapbook and he's jacking off with the fucking sandpaper.
Yes. So
And these two chicks come in and looks at him and like, oh my gosh, there's a midget jacking off. And then they're like, you're just drunk. I'm like, no.
yeah, they refer to him as a midget a few times. He's not actually a midget. He's just not very
No.
tall. He's kind
Yeah.
of like a Danny DeVito almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, jerking off with Sam. There's a part where there's like he's living with his mom, and there's a psychologist, and they say that basically his dad used to sexually abuse him, and then the psychiatrist says sometimes people that have been subjected to a lot of abuse will mutilate their genitals, and they show
Yeah.
that because he jacks off with sandpaper. And
Yeah.
Human Centipede 2 obviously trying to up the ante of the first one, so they gotta go above and beyond.
Right.
And that's an example of that. Honestly, though, ironically, even though this one is supposed to be the quote unquote real world and the first one is the movie, I think the first one is way more realistic and way more creepy, and like how it's supposedly 100% medically accurate. And this one is just so like you
This
said, it's
one is
funny.
supposed to be 100% inaccurate.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I can believe that. This one almost gets to the point of where it's silly, where I actually started to think Milton was kind of funny. I was actually kind of laughing at him at parts.
Yeah. I mean, so like when he was bringing all these people in,
Hmm.
and then he doesn't knock them down like, Dr. H
Hmm.
in the first movie. I call him Dr. H.
Yep.
Well, Dr. Lawrence or Martin,
Hmm.
that's the actor name, is Lawrence.
Hmm.
But Dr. Martin, he like just takes a sledgehammer and just knocks them all out,
Yep.
and then takes a hammer and knocks all the teeth.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't sew them on. He takes a
Staple gun.
staple gun
Yeah.
while they're still kind of awake.
Yes.
And
So
then duct tape. Yeah, duct tape everybody to ass to mouth. And then top of that, the I think the worst thing I kind of cringe is the whole kneecap with the
tendon.
tendon cutting off. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Ooh, that's rough. That's so rough. Yeah, so basically Milton abducts people from the parking ramp where he works, and he blonks them over the head with a crowbar, or he has a pistol that he shoots them in the foot or the leg sometimes. And he never speaks during the whole movie. He kind of grunts and makes noises. Apparently he does talk to his mom, because his mom said he keeps bringing up a 12-person centipede, and she didn't know what that meant. But so yeah,
But she finally found what he's actually talking about, because she found the photo album.
oh yeah, that's right. She tries to murder him. That's a part that I actually laughed at. Is like
Yeah.
she comes running in with a knife like into his bed, and is like, ah, like stabs the shit out of his bed, and then she looks, and he's like standing there in the corner like he just got out of the bathroom or something, and she's like,
Yeah.
oh hi.
And he also brought in like the I think Ashlyn, aka Jenny from the first movie,
Yeah.
and she was actually the first one. Well, then when she got kind of sold on to this huge centipede,
Mhm.
she kind of wakes up and like, oh my gosh, this is actually really real happening. Well,
Hmm.
then he feeds her like kind of like soup. That's what
Yeah, I
I'm
think
kind of seeing.
it looked like clam chowder to me, like just some kind of
Yeah.
thick, gloppy soup through a
Yep.
funnel.
Well, she like denied it. She like pushed it off the side and he didn't like it, so he shoved a like a tube down her throat
Yeah,
and then like just shove it down. I'm like,
yeah,
no, you're gonna eat this.
not just a funnel, like a beer bong. Like he basically shoves a beer bong
Yeah.
down her throat and then
So
gives her the
that's
old
one way to
clam
take it.
chowder.
Yeah.
She screams and he rips her tongue out with like a pliers. And
Yep.
but yeah, the concept is he apparently called, even though he never speaks in the movie, but apparently he called her agent saying he was like represented Quentin Tarantino and he was doing auditions for a Quentin Tarantino movie, and they're like, "Oh, she'd love to be in it. Well, so you can have your driver pick her up at the airport." And so that's how the
Yeah.
actual, supposedly the actress from Human Centipede 1 ends up in the quote unquote real life Human Centipede 2. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So like when they're all after that whole shoving down the throat scene, then
mhm.
not even like maybe I don't know, maybe a half an hour, he goes, takes a laxative, shoots in every single ass,
Oh
and then all of a sudden you hear this, and then I'm like, oh gosh, and then it's like diarrhea exploding, exploding, exploding. Then you got the last person just blew shit all over all over the wall.
yeah. Human Centipede 2,
Just
it's feel good family
that,
fun fest.
yeah.
Fun for everyone. Human
And he
Centipede.
was like doing like
And
this,
there's
but
even
it's
like
like,
little fly sound effects, like all of a sudden out of
yeah,
nowhere, there's a fly sound effect.
yup,
Before that, he was going up to each one and like rubbing their belly and going like he was what's his name, Franklin from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yup,
He was like, because he was disappointed they weren't shitting in each other.
yup.
Yeah.
And
um
then eventually they got kind of sick and tired of it, and then uh, I think the one guy with the heavy tattoos on the back kind of just
mhm.
like got himself out, and then they split off,
Yeah, he looked like a
and
real tough guy. Like they had him all tatted up and he was all big and bulky. So he looked like he was like a bruiser of a guy. So he just rips himself free.
yep.
And
Well,
his
and
mouth
then
is all.
yeah, and then that's when it's really getting bloody because then Lawrence like uh Dr. Harvey, sorry.
Yeah.
He like shoots him and all that other stuff. Like he gets really, really pissed off. It's like, okay, fine. Oops.
Yep.
He doesn't really care.
Yep.
Like, what the hell? And then this Ashlyn,
Hmm.
she actually put the actual centipede in his ass.
Oh yeah. So throughout the movie, he has a pet centipede that's like really big, like 8 inches long or something, and it's vicious. He throws little things in there and it attacks him viciously. And she like go with her tongue ripped out and with 5 people attached to her rear end, somehow manages to scoop up the funnel and the centipede and shove it in his butt. But it's funny. It's worth it for the payoff. That's his comeuppance. That's his. Um, there is a part earlier in the movie where he kidnaps a couple with a baby and then he puts the baby in the baby seat, and then they show later on, like obviously some time has passed, like maybe a day or two, and then he walks past the car and the baby is still in the baby seat crying, and that's kind of
Mhm.
fucked up. That's like, oh my god. And then
Yeah.
there's a pregnant woman as one of the ones, and she actually escapes, gives birth to the baby in the car, and is in such a hurry to escape, she stomps on the gas with the baby under the gas pedal and mashes it. And that's probably the most fucked up thing of the entire movie, with all the diarrhea and everything else. That was a part where I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
That's sad.
yeah. But so anyways, it all He ends up shooting everyone, gets the centipede in the butt. He gets away, and then they show him sitting at his TV, watching the movie, and it kind of almost looks like the whole thing was all in his head, like he just imagined this whole thing while he was on his job board. But then you can hear the baby crying off in the distance in the parking garage, so it's like
Yeah.
it actually did happen.
Oh, there's besides the kneecap part, cutting that, there's another scene that I just absolutely just oh my gosh. And it's that rape scene because he
Oh yeah, I
fucks
forgot.
fucks her on behind, and that's you see his dick, and then it's not that it's the barbed wire and shoving that in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
that
very graphic.
was
I think I blocked that out. I think I totally just like repressed that whole thing. Like I,
oh okay.
yeah, like that. No, but yeah, that's messed up. That's definitely probably that's maybe unnecessary, we could say.
Yeah.
Well, Breezy, we got.
Well, when Lawrence came to Crypticon, I was kind of wasn't sure to meet him or not. I was like, oh fuck, why not? Because I have a few questions.
Mhm.
And just to feel it out because I thought he was kind of creepy. And he's actually a real sweetheart. He
uh
really is. And I asked him about why was the movie shot in black and white, not in
mhm,
color.
mhm.
And he said, well, the director, Tom Six, shot it in color, but he seen it in black and white. He preferred it in black and white. So that's why it's black and white.
Okay.
And
Speaking
there's
speaking
something else to it too. I don't remember. And
okay.
then also at Crypticon, when they were showing the party room, she had it in color. And I sat in there and I was like half-ass drunk,
Uh-huh.
sitting there, and we were watching this movie and in color. I actually like it better in color, by the way.
I heard
And
it's
Lawrence,
grosser in color because you see all the fluids and the blood and the diarrhea and everything in color, so it's more disgusting.
yeah.
We
And
got
then
about 3 minutes left, just to give you a heads up.
oh, that's all right.
Okay.
So I so I was like sitting there and Lawrence was also in the room watching this and everybody was just cracking jokes and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad because he's sitting there watching it
Yeah.
with us and he didn't give a shit.
Yep. And they gave out chocolate snack pack puddings in the party
Yeah,
room
that's even
showing the human
worse.
centipede too.
That's sick. I did not eat one, so by the way.
I saw Lawrence and I didn't go talk to him because I if I had seen Human Centipede 2, if he comes back to Crypticon, I will definitely meet him. But I saw him from afar and was like, oh, that's the Human Centipede guy. I'm kind of freaked out by him.
No, I actually he's a real sweetheart. Yes.
Show your picture real quick. We got 2 minutes left. You got to show off your picture that you got. Look at that. For the people listening, she has a picture of the full Human Centipede 10 people creation from part two with Lawrence standing in the middle triumphant, and it's autographed. And what did he write on there?
He said, "To Bree, lovely to meet you at Crypticon."
Ah, so
Yeah.
nice.
And there's another part too at Crypticon. What this is like at night. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like 10 o'clock at night. We were all like hammered at this point. He sits down next to me and I said, Lawrence, I am so sorry that we got a joke about your movie. He goes, no, I actually kind of like it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's these two guys. I said, you not, these two guys come up to us and he's like, hey, Lawrence, you want to take a hit off of weed? He goes, I shouldn't, but I should. Yeah, give me it. And he
Nice.
just like, and he goes, oh, yeah, that's good. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, Lord.
uh, he sounds like a cool dude.
He really is, yes.
All right. Well, we have 1 minute left, so we better wrap it up. I want to say thank you to listening to Talk Bloody to Me as we went through these two movies. Now I can say I've seen Human Centipede 1 and 2. Breezy, any final words?
Nope, that's it. Enjoy that movie if you it's just disgusting.
And part 3 is trash, right?
Yeah. It's kind of dumb.
That's kind of the consensus. All right. Thanks for listening. We would appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back next week.
Yep. See you later.